Hello riders or not. On today's episode is Cyprus Classic Motorcycle Museum. And we have Andreas, the owner of the museum, and also you just said that every single bike here you collected and restored yourself.
Yes, welcome to the Cyprus Classic Motorcycle Museum. Here you see a very nice collection of bikes you never see anywhere around in the world. It's a collection of 450 bikes collected by one person. So this is a labor of love, and we don't get a bike to sell that, we get a bike to restore that and put that on display. So here you see about 130 bikes, and we change that time by time to give the people the chance to see more, because we don't have more space inside. Go inside to see that.
When you started collecting the bikes?
I started collecting when I was 15. Now I'm 57, almost 58.
Oh my God.
So anything you see here, I spend my life to do that. It's, we find the bike like this, in this condition, so you can understand how bad is that, and then we try to put it back to life.
Where do you find them? All in Cyprus?
All in Cyprus.
They're all from Cyprus?
Yes, all from Cyprus. I import 2 or 3 from outside, but the bikes are from Cyprus with history of the island. This is the history, the culture of the history of motorcycle in Cyprus.
How you decided to make it into a museum, to share it with everyone?
Yeah, I started collecting bikes, as I told you, when I was 15. Then I like to have one bike of each brand. Then I like to have any model of each brand. So I collect that, put that, and I hide that in the beginning. So people don't know that if they know that I collecting, they don't sell it to you, or they give you higher prices. Then when I make enough, I open the museum, because it's a treasure, and the treasure is not good to have that only for yourself. It's better to leave that out so people can visit that and enjoy that.
It's always, let's say, the same story continues and repeats, as I guess, because I'm the 4th generation. This started from grandfather of me, grandfather, my father, and then me. I guess all of them, they were like this. I didn't meet my grandfather, but from what I've heard of my family, he was maybe 2 times like me, maybe more crazy about bikes.
So does your brother or you have children and you pass it to the
Yes,
next
now I
generation?
have a very, very young boy. My brother also like to fix motorcycles. We work together, all of the family, to fix and do what you see here. Even my mother, sometimes you won't see many ladies, let's say, have hands like this.
I do
But,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Do they all start?
Yes,
All
all
the
of them
bikes in the
start.
road?
Yes,
And you can ride them?
yes.
This is incredible, like the variety of the models you have, and because Cyprus is not the big. So
Yes.
do you know the history, how they came into the island?
I know any history of any bike in Cyprus, so if you find any bike in the road, you can ask me if it's a classic, and I knew the history maybe 3 or 4 generations before the last owner. So the MV Agusta you see here is a very, very rare bike.
It's beautiful.
And I'm sure you never see another one to the rest of your life.
It's beautiful. It's a
Yes.
scrambler, like a little mini scrambler.
It's a scrambler bike. 350.
I only started riding 6 years ago, so I don't know a lot about the
Oh.
motorcycle history, and everything for me here is absolutely incredible find. It's kind of like step by step digging into
I
that.
can lock you here for 4 years and then you study motorcycle.
Yes, that's what I need to come back and maybe work restoring some
Yes.
bikes and learn more. You would get tired of talking or listening, or both.
Here is a Norton Commando 750S. This one I imported from Hollywood, from California. And this is a very rare motorcycle. They make that only for 1 year, in 1969. So you are very lucky to find one, and you are 10 times lucky to buy that. Very rare. On the top is a new Hatso from 1914. That is one of the first bikes they make with belt drive, 2 gear. They don't have clutch, it's before they make clutch. So you put a gear, push and jump to start. Because they don't have clutch, if you like to stop, you take the lever on the left, lose the compression on the cylinder, and then it goes down to stop or to turn. Here is a BSA from 1938, before the Second World War. So you see the chrome on that and the model, how is that? This is a nice bike. Just after the war, everything is coming one color, like green or something. It's different. But this is, you see, before the war. So this one, you see, is a Sloper engine, 600. An engine is a part of the frame, no frame on the front.
Oh yeah,
Something unusual.
it is. 1954. And 600cc, yes,
Yeah.
quite big.
Single cylinder. And this is a 1936 BSA. This is very rare in the island. You see how wide is the front mudguard, and it's a knocklet. There's some history here. The Triumph is from 1930, and this bike is come here with the world champion. John Cooper is here with the team of BSA, prepared this motorcycle for racing. So they raced that in Cyprus for 4 years. They came first. All these trophies you see here, some is here, some is in my house. So
How you managed to source that? This is like a pure history of a...
Yes, pieces by pieces.
And you found the trophies as well?
I find that well, yes, but any of that, if you hear the history of any of that, how I press them and I'm begging the people to sell that, is you can't believe.
Where you find the parts, the missing parts for the bikes?
This is a very nice question. When I started collecting the bikes, in some Armenian, they have all the shop, they sell me parts. And I went to them. That time we didn't have email or fax or internet or anything. I asking for a parts. If he don't have that, we have to ask for one in England. If they find that after 6 months, and they can bring it to you. But in the end, when I went to buy a piston, this guy told me, Andreas, this is a piston, it costs £20. But if you like that, you have to buy the whole lot. So they make me a lot, who asking £2,000 for the lot. But because I need the piston, I have to buy them all. So in the beginning, I'm just thinking to buy that. But then the guy, they tell me, don't worry. You can pay me by month. You get that, and when you have money, you come and give it to me. So I buy that like that. In the end, I buy all the shop in Cyprus and all the classic mechanic.
So now you have your own.
Now I have everything. I can export anytime, but the best thing, I can fix my motorcycle and I can ask or wait to spend time for nothing. And on the top is a Raleigh mob, brand new, never used. Never registered, from 1958 on the original color. There is a BSA M20 with sidecar used by Cyprus police on that time. If you like, I can start you that one to hear that.
Oh yes, please.
So any one of these, they can start like that. That's what we like to do. We don't like to keep that and never use that. So from the other thing, because here, if you see, we don't have more space to put more, but the collection is 3 or 4 times more. So we find the things, we move the bike to the store from here, and we bring another just to do the service and leave that here for a month or something. So the next people, they come on their next visit, they see something different. It's not always the same bikes.
So if people visiting museum once, after a year, they can visit it again and they will see
it's
different bikes.
Yes.
It's changing. So
changing.
if you are in Cyprus, you have to come to Nicosia because it's close from anywhere you're staying. It's a 2 hours maximum drive, all right?
Yeah.
And visit Classic Motorcycle Museum.
Here is some bikes they used by the Cypriot in Eoka, it when the Cypriot fighting against British in 1955 to 1959. So this is a bike of the gunsmith of Eoka, and this is a bike of number one of that team, Andreas Azinas. This is a bike of Stylianos Lenas, a hero of Eoka. And some bikes, very rare, like that Roamer from 1941. And the NJS you see up here with the leather jacket, that is from 1930. This is R8 NJS 500cc. It's a fantastic bike, very unique all around the world, and it's the only one in the island. And here you see a Norton from the Second World War. My son do that Argyris, so just to have an idea, when I find that is the most unbelievable bike you can build that again, because engine is stuck, gearbox, wheels, everything. Just to have an idea, come to see this. This is the petrol tap, and look inside.
So here you will see a Matchless from World War II period. This is the G3 motorcycle, as model speaking. It's a 350 engine. You can see how, let's say, ended the war. You will see here the oil tank is, let's say, so rusty that is half of it. The same the engine. The rust went so, let's say, through the engine, and you can see, but it's still solid. It's not like the today, let's say, quality. So this Matchless here, we are gonna restore it to a motorcycle that will run. We are not gonna scrape down, let's say, the paint that it has and make it shiny again. We will keep it as it was from the war. Of course, we will fix the oil tank with an original one, or maybe fix this to weld it or something to make it usable again, and fix the engine. You will tell me this engine has no chance to live, but I can guarantee you that it will be on life again. We fix many worst bikes like this as speaking the engine. We are gonna see another Norton now that it was exactly in the same situation and condition, let's say, and we managed to get it working in 2-3 months of progress. As we can see here, this is a Norton Big 4. This is only one difference in year of manufacture. The bike we saw before is 1939. This is a 1940 with a side valve engine of 500 cc. So here you can see the valves are on the side. So that's why it's called side valve engine. Together with a Doll's Head gearbox. This gearbox, they used it on racing bikes at that time and earlier. So the Isle of Man bikes you see at that time, they used to have exactly the same gearbox. More things to say, you will see that these bikes, they never had batteries or anything like that. So they get the magneto and then dynamo to give lights in the front. So the more rev you give, the more light you have in the front. Low rev, no big light at the front. So you will see, let's say, all the moving parts. As you can see the gears, how they used to work. Kickstarter, you have, let's say, normal throttle at that time, the front brakes, the rear brakes, the toolbox they used at that time in the army, and of course the oil tank that all the British bikes are speaking for 4-stroke engines they used to have at that time. So the Norton 16H served the World War II time together with the Big 4 that you saw before. The only difference that the Big 4 is a 633cc, this is a 500cc single, both of them. So the history behind this, My father found it very, very rusty, abandoned like the matchless. And on December, he said, "This is the present for you for Christmas." It came here with, let's say, very bad wheel. You can see how nicely the wheel is turning. This is the original bearings from 1944, let's say 1940. So imagine what quality is the bearings this wheel had. What I did, I just took it off, unstuck it, clean it, oil it, and put it back. When I saw the bike, I said, this bike has a great history. So we will rebuild the engine, the gearbox, and all the working, moving parts, so it can run and drive like that.
So can it run? Because it has a hole in the tank.
Yes, but what we do to start the bikes that they have holes like this in the tank, we use another small tank as a reserve one, like they do with the nursery for people when they are sick. And we put, let's say, a fuel line going there, and then you can start it. So any bike that has, let's say, so injured fuel tank, we do it like this.
When you started rebuilding them, how old were you?
First engine I ever opened is about when I'm 14, 15 years old, because I start to feel that the engine had some problems or was very noisy or different noisy from before. So it's the time when you ride a motorcycle for, let's say, 1 month, and suddenly something changes. It's like, let's say, when you speak and suddenly your tongue becomes more, let's say, heavy, that you are sick or something. But then you understand that something changed, so you want to, let's say, go and discover why this happened. And then you do one by one. In progress, you have always to put some lines. Speaking about lines is to go from here to there and then from there back, so it will be correct. You can't, let's say, open an engine and leave it there for 5 years and then you come back in another 5 years. You will forget what happened, and then maybe you miss parts or you do something wrong and you end up with a broken engine. Mainly people will tell you, not me, because I like the process of opening an engine. They will tell you to open an engine that is rusty like the one we saw, because everything, they will tell you it will snap or it will break, and then you sit there with nothing to do. You have to work, let's say, with patience, always. You don't run into do something. You have to be patiently, do it slowly, use, let's say, some special tools, use some techniques that they were old at that time and they used to work, of course. So you can get it to run again and to be, let's say, safely with the parts without breaking them. Because a bike like this, if you, let's say, break one part of it, you will look for another 20, 30 years and you may never find it.
So your advice to anyone who wants to rebuild a classic motorcycle is to be patient.
Yes.
And to do it continuously.
Yes.
Do not just leave it in
when
parts,
you are
in the
warm.
boxes. Yes.
When you are warm and you remember things.
When you rebuild classic bikes, do you struggle with some tools? Do you need, because in modern bikes you need some specific tools.
Yes.
Do you struggle? Do you have to make them or source them?
Not really, as I'm very lucky that my grandfather and father collected. You will see I organized everything on my table here. You can see on the left side is the millimeters that we use on the today's bike and European bikes. In the middle is the British bikes tool, and on the right side is for the Americans. So I have many more, another 3-4 times tools, of course. You can see the bench around is full of tools and stuff. Every single bike you have to work with its own special tool. So if it's something that I can guess people of today can't get, they will have to make it, because nobody sells, let's say, a tool from 1940s or 50s. So people today, they have either to make it or find likely one, if you are lucky.
So you are lucky because you inherited
Very, very
many
lucky.
of them.
Very, very
Can
lucky.
you show us at least one tool from your great-great-grandfather? Do you have it and you
Yes,
still
of course.
use it?
We have some that they are very old, and I have it here from 1945. This is a World War II tool. So you can see the brand is in perfect condition.
And you still use it?
Yes, yes. Anything you see on the bench here is usable. Is many, many things that you can see. We have also the more brand new stuff, but the ones here are really pretty old. And yeah,
Incredible.
this is also a very, very old tool. This, if somebody see that today, will say this is maybe a beer opener or something like that. But this is a special tool for the forks. So the nuts you see over the bikes here, just to show you. The big nuts they have here. You see? That's the tool to use there and tied
So that,
or
that
untied.
would be one of the rare tools
That's it, yes.
that you can't find nowadays.
Yes. At that time, British used because it's inches, it's no millimeters, so it has to fit exactly. If it doesn't fit exactly, then you destroy the nut and you sit there crying.
Oh yes.
And up there is an Engrini, brand new, never used. They make that for racing, it's an upper class, 50cc. And another one is down there, it's a pair, it's two racing motorcycles from Italy. Here is a section of Second World War military bikes. You see the Harley Davidson, the BMW, and the BSA, Norton, Triumph, and Matchless, all from the Second World War. And here you see one of the best designer of motorcycles, Edward Turner. So you see a design of that guy here. This is a Triumph Speed Twin from 1947. It's a pieces of art. And next to that, these two Triumph here, 903 and 904. This is two of the first Triumph motorcycle used for our president, first president, Archbishop Magarios police escort. And then is another pair, these two Harleys, 91 and 92. So this is a present from President Kennedy to President Magarios for his police escort.
The actual
These two
president.
bikes, yes.
The actual.
And here is one of the bike they make in Triumph factory, closed in December 1983. This is production December 1983, one of the last go out and lock the door. And here is a Triumph. As I told you before, 4 of our motorcycles, they make the stamp for Cyprus, post stamp, and they travel all around the world. This is one of that, the Triumph Daytona. And this is a Norton Maxman. They built about 300 something of that. Is less than 12 survive today in the war. All of them export to America. This is the only one export to Cyprus from America. My son rebuilt that, Argyris. And also Argyris rebuilt this beautiful Panther during the COVID period. You can see video how he do that, and it started fantastic.
Do you have your YouTube channel?
Yes,
where
we
people-
have a YouTube channel, Cyprus Classic Motorcycle Museum, and you can see that how it started, and you hear the sound of that. It's fantastic. And this is another bike they make stamp, the Riel from 1939. This is also my wife's bike. And then you see the Japanese line, the Yamaha, Honda, Suzuki,
And
the
they more like
BMW.
70s and
Yes.
yeah.
And like this beautiful Norton here from 1960.
as I see from the history, because those bikes, they say the motorcycle history of the island.
Yes.
And you can see that in the early years, it's mostly British motorcycles. And then in 70s, the Japanese bikes
Yes.
started arriving. And after the war, you had some Harleys,
Yes.
and now you have everything.
This is a very nice stuff to have. You pass from here and you see, during the motorcycle, you see the history of the island. And during the picture gallery you have around, then you can understand the life of the Cypriot.
I have goosebumps now.
That one is from the first motorcycle I ever, let's say, touched to fix engines and stuff like that. That's a two-stroke engine that it starts by hand. You pull this to start. It's a racing Honda bike with, you can see, disc brakes on front and rear with an automatic, let's say, engine that it can run up to 80-90 kilometers per hour. These bikes is not for children. Yes, many people, they think it's for children, it's for adults. Adults like me and you, they wear...
I have to stand next to it just to see the size. This is the bike that I would have to race. 80 kilometers per hour, 80-90 kilometers per hour.
in a short circuit.
This is this.
So you
And it
use
starts like this,
Yes.
just pulling that.
you use exactly the same technique they use in MotoGP. You lean with your knees and your elbows on this bike.
If ever anyone says that any bike is uncomfortable,
That
come
one.
back to that video because that is definitely doesn't look comfortable at
Yeah.
all.
You are like this.
Yes, you are like your knees on
Yeah.
your ears.
Yes, it's like that when you ride this bike.
Do you have any family bikes here? Like not the ones that you found and restored, but from your own family
Yes,
history?
I show
like
you
your
my father's bike here. This one here. We restored that and we put that here.
One thing my father didn't tell you, when I was born, he bought that bike, the BSA M20. It was worse than the Matchless. So for a present of my birth, he bought that one and restored it. And it became one of the 4 post-stamps of Cyprus.
I just overwhelming excited how everything interacts with your family and how personal it all is with your country, your
Yes.
family history, and this is like the best museum that it can be.
Is because we look it like we said before. It's our life here. And when it's your life, you do whatever is best from your soul to do it. It's difficult to set up, let's say, a company or a museum that maybe a democracy or a country has and to keep it like this. When we enter the door, we know we will do our best that pass from ourselves to become the best total. So by that thing, it speaks alone from what you see, I believe.
Did you ever got tired of all this?
Never.
Never. You never quit.
No. The goal and let's say the feeling of success is always when you hear a bike working, not to see that. So somebody may tell you, oh, that's a beautiful bike, but maybe it's an empty engine or something like this. It looks brand new, but he never ride it or he never managed to fix it to start. So the feeling is to have maybe a rusty bike like this that it starts and gives you, let's say, the goosebumps of the sound, and you feel the feedback of the bike. Sometimes we tell to people, we speak with bikes and they laugh, they say, this guy is crazy. And bikes speak to us with the sound. This is the feedback that they give you back, and when you ride them, you understand what you have done. This is, let's say, what we get back.